Hey, business building warrior. Welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. I'm glad you're going to join me today for another great episode. It's not great because I'm here. That's pretty normal, pretty boring, but it's great because we've got a fourth time guest coming back, Mr. Rich Potter. We're going to talk about wholesale today, wholesale sourcing. I think we are on to something very special with the strategy that we're seeing work over and over and over again for students who are going through this process. So we're excited now to roll it out to our larger audience. We've been testing this for a while now, and it's beautiful. Now, to remind you who my guest is today, Rich Potter. This is his fourth appearance on this show. He's been on here with his wife, Shelley, a couple times too. They presented at our Proven conference not too long ago, just a few weeks ago, a few months, I should say. And they did a phenomenal job. But let me tell you the episodes, and this will all be in the show notes too, but they were on episode 221, then 317, and then episode number 365. So this is their fourth appearance. And if you wanted to go back and kind of hear the progression and their rise in leadership, it's pretty cool to kind of go back and listen in sequence if you want to do some homework. But they have launched a couple hundred different wholesale products very successfully into their Amazon product list. And they use a replan strategy to analyze which one of these are good or not. And we're going to talk quite a bit about that today. They've got a $3.5 million business running at a very healthy margin. Got a team helping them run it. As I was talking to him today, he just got back from a trip with his family. He's getting ready to take another trip with his family. Like, this thing is pretty self-sustaining. He runs this and a couple other businesses. And we'll talk about that a little bit today too. But the main point is they've really got wholesale dialed in. And part of what we're going to discuss today as well is a tool called Smart Scout. Now, when it comes to Amazon research tools, this isn't a commercial, this isn't a sponsor. This is a tool that we've said, hey, we need this to do the strategy that we're teaching. Rich started using it in a very creative way. We contacted the founder of Smart Scout. He's actually a guy who's been to some of our events. He's got a great podcast, Scott Needham. He speaks to Amazon sellers all the time. But his tool is custom designed for the strategy that Rich is going to talk us through today. It's called Smart Scout. And like I said, don't go spend full price. If as a listener to this show or as someone who's going through our wholesale training, either one, you can get the best price you'll find anywhere by going to silentjim.com/SS, as in Smart Scout. You'll hear me mention it several times on the show today as well. Not to be repetitive, but I don't want you to go out there and miss out on a great discount. So as we pull all those pieces in together today, we're going to teach you how to go find wholesale products using a creative tool that we've never talked about before, explain why that tool is important to the process. And we've got a very low price, very inexpensive course that we're rolling out that teaches all of this to you at provenwholesalesourcing.com. We're going to talk about all of that today, explain who this is for, why you should be paying attention to it, the results that Rich and so many of his students are getting. And when I say students, so far, we've only offered this to people who have got on an airplane and flown to Arizona, which is where Rich and Shelley live, sat in their warehouse with their team, seen their products, seen the process, and gone through all of this. And it's a multiple day experience. What this wholesale training is we take that little few hour segment of the training from that multiple day experience, just the wholesale training, and we dive deep into that. We decided to offer that to the larger community. That's you, the listeners, the people in our Facebook group, because so many people were asking about it, but they didn't want to get on an airplane and fly to Arizona. So it makes total sense. So even if you don't invest any money with us today after listening, I think some of the things that should stand out to you are the fact that you're probably ready to start looking for wholesale opportunities to firm up your Amazon business. There's so much opportunity out there, and it really does add a level of predictability, scalability, and it turns your company into an asset that can be sold as well, which is a really big deal. It's not just private label sellers that can flip their business and turn it over to an investor. You can do this as a wholesale seller as well, once you understand how to do wholesale. So without any further introduction needed, I'd love to jump over and get Mr. Rich Potter back on the line, get you caught up on his story, how great his business is going, and we'll talk a little bit about the provenwholesalesourcing.com offer that we have for you. So, Rich, welcome back to the show, man.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you again. So, we got quite a story unfolding here. I think you're our only 4-time guest. I have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure, man, there's very few 3-time guests, 4-time guests, man. That's pretty cool. And you've got an important announcement to roll out. But for those who don't know who you are, I just did a bit of an intro, but put it in your own words. Just recap the journey for us for a couple minutes. It's a fun story.
Sure. Yeah. So we'll go back first. Two years ago, I quit my job and went full time. And since then, things have been incredible. Our business is just going crazy. We're building an awesome team. But to go back even further, we started 6 years ago selling on Amazon. It was kind of a fluke thing. I was on Facebook and saw a post from a buddy. He mentioned how him and his brother were just killing it on FBA, and I had no clue what he was talking about. So we kind of dove in there and looked into what he was talking about. And long story short, we found the My Silent Team community and ended up starting our Amazon business 6 years ago. Almost, gosh, I guess it was 6 years ago, like late October. So it's almost exactly 6 years ago. We started in fourth quarter. So my background in the corporate world, I worked for a distributor. And so we dove right into wholesale right from the start, because that's kind of what we knew. That's what I'd been doing for years. And it's what made sense to us, right? So we dove right into wholesale. We did that exclusively for the first 4 years of our business. And then it was shortly after I made the leap to go full time that we started adding in some of Jimmy Smith's replan methods. We added replans, and then we just added like the methodology of sourcing replans into our wholesale approach. And from there, just the business has exploded, right? So when I quit my job 2 years ago, we were doing a little over $1 million a year, pretty consistently for 3 straight years. And then last year we did 2.6 million. We're coming up on that. By the end of the week, we'll be at 2.6 million this year.
With a full Q4 ahead of us.
Full fourth quarter of growth this year, yeah. So we're hoping awesome. That we can push out another $1 million with a solid fourth quarter.
Going for 3.5 plus, man. I love it. Yeah. And having seen the posts that you guys are making and the exciting products that I know you guys are diving into and constantly finding new winners. And how much of that is private label now? How much of that is your own product?
So very little. Our approach to private label is using our wholesale and replan products, right? So we do have our brand registered on Amazon, and we use the successful products that we find in wholesale and create unique bundles and private label bundles with small private label branded products to go along with it, right? So we're finding products that we're already selling, probably 10 times or more a day, and then we're creating our own unique bundles with those products with the manufacturer's permission, and then we're launching those as our private label bundles. Is how we're approaching private label.
It's such a beautiful way to do private label. Just to allow me to rant for just a second. If you've listened to more than 20 episodes or so of this podcast, you've heard me say over and over and over again, don't start with private label. Start out with the low-hanging fruit, replens, then move into wholesale. That's going to uncover incredible low-risk private label opportunities instead of the way that the rest of the world is teaching this thing. When you get on YouTube, for example, and say, I want to learn to sell on Amazon, you're going to get hit in the face 50 times in a row with people selling you a $5,000 to $10,000 course, want you to buy $5,000 to $20,000 worth of inventory and hope it all works out a few months from now. It's just not necessary. These are low-hanging fruit models. Our progression looks more like start with replans, put some money in the bank, learn the basics. You were comfortable in the world of wholesale, so you started there, which is just another notch above. And that's where most people need to go. Once you understand replans, get into wholesale. And that's what we're going to talk about today a lot more. But you guys have dove in there and you found a creative way to find numerous wholesale winners. And that's what we're going to talk about. But that's the progression. Replans, wholesale, then work your way up into the higher reward, higher risk. But if you take your time, it's not higher risk, private label opportunities. So I love you guys are kind of a textbook, perfect example of doing it the right way, slow and steady into the bigger opportunities. What's your margin overall too? Since we've dropped some big numbers on folks, do you happen to know offhand about what margin you guys looking at?
Yes. So our gross product sales margin is right around 19%. We do probably have a higher overhead than most because we got a pretty big warehouse. We employ 10 people. So when we're talking net profit margins, we're right around 10.5% overall. So
that's before you guys pay yourself or after you pay your own salary?
That is before we pay us, but it's after we pay everything else.
Exactly. Good. So I always like to help clarify and create a good image for everyone. Still a phenomenal business that comes pretty close to running itself at this point. You guys have got the right people in the right places, and it's just kind of an autopilot stream pretty close to it. Like, I know you guys just got back from a trip. You're getting ready to take another trip here in a few days with the family. You're just enjoying this stage of life. What are your day-to-day commitments to the business? Like, what's your reality of running a $3.5 million per year Amazon business for you guys right now?
Well, so for me, it's up to me on a day-to-day basis, right? So I think the beauty of my business is it is completely built out and runs itself now. When we last met in I guess the time before in October of 2020, I had kind of like built out everything except for purchasing, right? And I was still kind of holding on to that. And
that's right.
A few months ago, I hired a buyer. And we tried at the end of 2020. The buyer we found wasn't the right person, wasn't a good fit. But a few months ago, we did it again. We hired one, and this one's working out for us. And so now my office manager, Richard Clough, who's my original employee from back when I quit my job, he is trained to pretty much run the show. And so I can step out for weeks at a time. I mean, I could step out for months at a time, and it would still just keep rolling along. So my involvement now today is really kind of what I choose to do. I'll come in, and I'm here at the office most days when we're in town. I'm here to answer questions and to kind of help guide and lead the team. But most of the time now, I'm focusing on coaching with Jim Cockrum, coaching, and then we're also doing our workshops and stuff like that. So most of my time is focused on other tasks now, where my Amazon business is just running itself.
Multiple income streams, and you guys have a party entertainment business on the side as well that's starting to pick back up.
We
Thank
do,
God,
yeah.
right?
So that thing that's been dead for a year and a half. Back in the day, we were doing 30, 40 events a month, and then COVID came and shut everything down. We probably did maybe a dozen events in the last year and a half. And I think we've got 24, 25 on the books for October. So it's coming back. That's in full force again, which is kind of a double-edged sword, right? Like we're already so busy with fourth quarter.
Right.
This has just not been on our minds for over a year and a half now. And now it's just coming back in full force. So
yeah,
we're considering selling the event business. But
that's what I was going to ask you. Sounds like it might be a good time. It's on the upswing.
Yeah. I've already got a couple people interested. So the event business, we actually have 3 separate businesses within the one business. We have a bubble soccer, and then we've got 2 photo booth divisions.
So yeah, you had that photo booth at our last event. That was so awesome. We had such a good time with that thing. Just that little, when you said photo booth, I thought it was going to be this big contraption. It's just this little like iPad size thing on a little stand, and people taking pictures and post them on social media and all the fun poses. Yeah, you guys play with that all the time there in the office too. I've seen
selfie station there. Yeah,
yeah, it's so cool. So I love your entrepreneurs at heart. The timing of selling you had the gym and you sold it right before COVID, right? And then whoever had that had a bit of a mess on their hands, I'm sure. But the timing couldn't have been better. But you guys have stepped in and out of multiple businesses, but this is the one where you're kind of passionate and excited about. I just want to mention, I may have mentioned this in the introduction already, but episode 221, episode 317, and episode 365. Those are the last 3 times you were on the show. And if people want to go back and kind of study the progression, I think it's pretty interesting to see where you guys have come from and where you're going. And I want to start to transition. There's a lot of things we could talk about, but the main point today is, man, let's talk about wholesale, because I know we've helped thousands of people launch very successful businesses. Some of them are multiple seven-figure businesses just with the replens model. Some people are very happy there. They're happy to stay there. Where wholesale starts to plug very nicely in to that model. And I'll let you put it in your own words. Why is wholesale exciting if you've got a replens model rocking already? What does wholesale bring to the game that you don't have otherwise?
I think the reason I love wholesale so much is the stability of the model and also the scalability, right? So when we first started, we looked at arbitrage, and not even from like a replan standpoint, but just from like clearance and seasonal and I didn't like it, right? Like for me, it was too much hustle and it was just too much grind, and I wanted something that was more something I could automate, something that I could build systems around. And so when we started 6 years ago, it was an arbitrage, right? For me, and coming from the world of wholesale, it just made so much sense because I could build systems around it. I could spend 10 minutes and I could place, purchase orders of $5,000-$10,000 and product would be here within a week. And I just couldn't do that with arbitrage, right? It would take me a full week or more to go buy that much product and scale and stuff. So I think it brings a level of sustainability, scalability to the business that arbitrage didn't. Now, with the replan model, that's changed, right? Like that's kind of brought that into arbitrage. I just think you can do it, in my opinion, and some may argue, Jimmy may argue with me, I don't know, but in my opinion, like you can do it a little bit better and you can do it a little bit quicker and almost less risk, if you will, because the reason I think so is because a lot of the brands that we're working with, they have a MAP price in place, which is a minimum advertised price, right? So you don't see your competitors tanking the price or lowering the price to where it's not profitable. And if we're working with brands that don't have MAP in place, then we work with them to get that put in place. So we don't see a lot of the price fluctuation, if you will, in wholesale that you can sometimes see in replans. So the lifespan of our wholesale products is longer than what we found with the replan products.
And when you say lifespan, I know what you mean, but explain.
So we've been doing this 6 years, right? Like I've got products and brands and manufacturers that we work with that we've been working with the entire time. We found these brands 6 years ago, and we still have a very solid relationship directly with that brand, that manufacturer, and we're still purchasing from them 6 years later.
Right.
And then you may find that with replans, but I think it's a little harder to find that sort of lifespan, that sort of sustainability with a replan staying profitable for that long.
I think you just hit on something that it's a thought I've never had before, but as you were explaining it, it just occurred to me that wholesale is basically replans with relationship.
Absolutely.
Meaning when I need more, I just let them know I need more. And we've all agreed, hey, here's the bottom price. Here's what I pay. And you may end up being the only seller. You guys are on some wholesale accounts where you're the only one selling the product, aren't you? Last time
we have a few. Typically with some of those, we do end up merging those to more of a PPP model where we're managing their account for them. But we do have a few. A lot of our wholesale kind of stays in more of a semi-exclusive, where when we help them either get brand registry or put MAP price agreements in place, we become one of maybe 2 or 3 sellers instead of one of 10 or 15 or whatever. Right. So we do have some exclusives. I would say the majority of our wholesale, though, is more of a semi-exclusive where we're one of very few that have permission to sell their products.
Great clarification. Because I think some people think the holy grail is my own product that I control. It's got my label on it. It's branded. And we have those success stories in our community. I mean, I mention it all the time, but Death Wish Coffee is one of our student clients. Top 10 grocery item on Amazon, not just a top coffee, a top 10 grocery item, right? So we understand that world, but that's a little harder goal to hit. Yeah, that takes some timing and some energy, a lot of money, some risk. But the models you're talking about here, the stuff we're talking about, these are more everyday common guy can jump in there, do the work, do what it takes to build the business you've got. It's much more replicatable, if you will. And I like the transition from replans into wholesale, the relationship aspect, meaning now you're talking with, instead of just pulling it off a shelf, hiring a shopper to go to the store, buy your list, you're saying, hey, some of these hotter items, let's contact the manufacturer. Let's get a list of products that they have. Let's see if we can wholesale some of this, and getting into that arena. And one of the things I want to transition into next is, it's not just a matter of kind of stumbling blindly and helping you find wholesale products. You guys have really dialed in a system. And this is what you guys teach as part of the multiple day experience at the, help me get the website right.
Replan
Workshop.
Wholesale Workshop.
replanwholesaleworkshop.com, right? Yep. Thanks for that. That's the experience where people fly into town for a few days, spend time with, see your warehouse, see your products, see your team, talking about growth and team growth and all the aspects of running the operation. But we've pulled a piece out of that, the wholesale training, where we're actually saying, hey, here's how we find wholesale companies that are willing to work with us, excited to work with us. And we start to build a relationship with them. And we're calling that provenwholesalesourcing.com, which that's a domain name we've used before. There's another course that's still in the Proven Amazon course. Beautiful course, but a completely different strategy from what we're talking about now. So start to talk me through this provenwholesalesourcing.com strategy that you guys have come up with. What's it entail? What are the magic pivot points here that you guys have discovered? And also tell me, how many products have you guys found using these strategies? Like, how effective is this for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So to just kind of piggyback on what you said about relationships, it really is about developing relationships with the brand. We go from developing a relationship with maybe a store manager, right, who is removed from the brand, right? He may be able to purchase from a distributor or from the brand, but that's still one relationship removed away from who's making the product, right? And who actually controls the supply chain and the pricing and all that. So in either case, replans or wholesale, it is about relationships, but we're getting to a little bit closer relationship that has more control over pricing and supply.
An important distinction. Yes, I love that, because this is a relationship model. Even if you're just doing yard sales and retail arbitrage, scanning barcodes, in which, by the way, we have people who have built $150,000 in their pocket businesses with that model. Like, go for it. But that's hustle. And sometimes you come home with empty pockets. I didn't find anything today that you struck out. That's why we like the replans. You never strike out. But they're all relationship models. Thank you for that distinction. Yes, because we never want to get away from we never want people to think you can do this just kind of, stand here, keep to yourself. Get to know the store managers. Get to know the neighborhoods where you yard sale. Tell people, hey, if you ever know a yard sale's coming up, I'll shop it early, right? Relationships matter. But yeah, great distinction. But I'll let you keep going, man.
So the biggest mind shift that I like to teach in our workshop here is that we're going from selling, Walmart's products or Target's products or whoever the retailer is, going from selling their products to then getting permission from the brand to sell their products and working directly with them, right? So the whole background or the backbone of wholesale and the way we approach it is developing relationships, lasting relationships with these brands. So it's a struggle. And if you talk to anybody who is kind of dabbled in wholesale or struggled with wholesale, they might tell you that, we've reached out to 100, 200 different brands and nobody wants to work with us. Well, I think we've built an approach up front to a value add approach and a criteria that will weed out a lot of those brands that won't work with you. So right up front, we're developing a website, a value-based website that sells our service as a partner, right? So we have a website that doesn't even have a single product on it. Right. And if you look at, if you go back to my presentation at the Proven Conference, part of it was I did a Google search of the largest third-party sellers on Amazon. Right. We looked at the top 4. And of those top 4, 3 of the top 4 had value proposition, value add type websites where they were just selling their service as a partner and helping brands extend their reach and sales by using Amazon and Walmart and other third-party platforms, right? That's what we're doing. We're building a website and we're building a value add approach to building a relationship and then helping those brands extend their reach and grow their online presence. Right. So
just to add some evidence to what you just said, some confirmation to what you just said, Rich, I went to, there was a large candy and snack show that came through Indianapolis. Indianapolis, my hometown, is it's a pretty big convention town. There's typically every weekend there's something coming through. Well, this was a big candy and snacks. And I went down, saw a few people from the community, hung out with them a little bit. But I went booth to booth and just struck up conversations with the owners of mid-sized brands. These are, $5 to $30 million businesses trying to sell their pretzels or their whatever. Without exception, every single conversation I had, assuming I was dealing with someone who was higher up in the decision-making process, when I told them, hey, yeah, I understand Amazon better than the next guy, they didn't know who I was. They'd never heard of my podcast. I'm just a guy walking up saying, yeah, I understand the Amazon ecosystem pretty well. We help people sell there. We sell there ourselves. They said, can I get your number? Can I use you as a contact? I've had some of them reach back out to me and ask me questions. The world is confused by Amazon, and we're the ones that can help answer those questions. That's your gateway in. I love that you said the value add. That's a huge asset that we have. Just having listened to this podcast, right? And you mentioned the PPP earlier, the proven product partnering. That just means one of these partners that you've gone to, instead of selling that product on your own account, you're selling it in their account. You help them get set up and you get a percent. That's the model. It's one of the things we teach in the Proven Amazon course is the PPP model. I want to make sure people understood that because it's just another way you can bring value. I don't care whose account is used when we sell these products. If I'm getting a percent, that's beautiful. And it's such a low risk proposition. So I love that you're focused in on how can we bring value to this brand and benefit from that.
Yeah, that's the primary approach. Like once you've got that down, you have a much higher success rate when you're reaching out to brands and distributors and trying to get permission to sell product.
Right. You're not just saying, hey, do you guys take on Amazon sellers?
Oh yeah, because as a whole, brands, companies, they don't like Amazon sellers. They've heard the horror stories of the bad actors and people who don't follow MAP pricing agreements and who are just in there. They're just Me Too's, right? They just want their cut, their piece of the pie, right? Our whole approach is, hey, I know you have this existing piece of the pie, but here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I can add to make that piece of pie bigger for you. And I think that's why we have such a high success rate in our approach. There's lots of things that go into our high success rate, but one of those, and I'd say the most important, is our value add approach. Right. And then secondarily, I think that approach, what gives us success is things like having a commercial address and having the team that we have and just the experience that we bring and stuff like that. But the value add approach is definitely the most important part.
Right.
So
let's talk specifically about what it is people are going to get if they get into the provenwholesalesourcing.com offer, which we've priced ridiculously low because not everyone wants to get on an airplane and travel and pay thousands of dollars, stay in a hotel. That's not for everyone. Many people want to do that, and we still offer that. But if someone just wants the course, the meat of this wholesale training, what all are they going to get? You mentioned a website, for example, and I know there's a software tool involved here. Let's start talking through some of the specifics.
Yeah, absolutely. So we kind of walk you through in the first part of the course is about the relationships and about the value add. And then we start getting into more of the meat, which is the software tool we're using. Smart Scout is an incredible tool. For those of you who are not familiar with it, it was developed by a guy named Scott Needham. Scott Needham is the CEO of BuyBoxer, huge Amazon third-party seller, right? I think they're doing over 100 million a year. And their approach to Amazon, at least initially, was wholesale. And so Scott developed an internal software to improve his wholesale sourcing within his team. And they used it for a while, and now they've made it public, and now he's selling it so that we can use it. But it's a really powerful tool. So we've played around with, we use Jungle Scout for years. Helium 10 is another great tool. But these tools were pretty much created by and for private label sellers, right? They were created by private label sellers to help you kind of data mine and look for opportunities within Amazon for private label opportunities. Smart Scout was developed by a wholesale guy for wholesale. And we found great ways to use it for replans and online arbitrage and stuff like that. But primarily, we're using it for wholesale to kind of data mine the criteria we have for wholesale.
And one quick thing I want to insert here, because we've talked to Smart Scout, and you and I have been talking to Scott Needham. He's been to some of our events and our conferences, and I've been on the phone with him several times in the past few months, setting up basically the best price you're going to find anywhere and the best offer you're going to find anywhere on Smart Scout in anticipation of us launching this course, because you're going to need the course and you're going to need Smart Scout. So silentjim.com/SS, as in Smart Scout. That's going to forward you over to the special offer that they put together. And again, you're not going to find a better price anywhere on the planet for that tool. We asked them, please give us the best deal you possibly can, the unbeatable low price and offers. So go check that out if you want. Now, I love that you contrasted it too with other great tools that many people on our team swear by, love, and use. Jungle Scout, Helium 10. And those are some good products, but they're not built for people looking for wholesale sources. And I want to dive in a little bit more into why Smart Scout is something you called me up once you started using it and said, dude, you got to check this out. And I know Scott sent me, this has been probably well over a year ago. Scott Needham, the founder of BuyBoxer, Smart Scout's developer, sent me one of the first copies of it. And I went through and I saw some interesting potential in there, but I didn't see what you saw as a tool for sourcing wholesale opportunities. So talk us through a little bit, like, what's so special about this Smart Scout as a wholesale sourcing tool from your perspective?
Sure. So part of our approach to wholesale is trying to find the right companies that will want to work with Amazon sellers to begin with, right? So it's I like to say we have most success, honestly, with smaller, either emerging brands or more like unrecognizable brands. And so I like to say, if you've never heard of the brand, they're probably a good opportunity to approach that.
Right? That's great.
So like, you're going to have a hard time calling up Nike or Johnson and Johnson, or, those big brands that you hear of every day. You call those guys up and say, hey, I'm an Amazon seller. I want to sell your product in Amazon. And they're going to say no. Like, we don't want to deal with you, right? But if you call up the company that, maybe they are doing $1 million a year, right? In the terms that we're looking for, that's small. On Amazon,
very small.
That's nothing, right? But these are guys that could really use some additional help selling on Amazon, and so you can build out your search criteria with Smart Scout to find the exact companies that you're looking for within different categories, within a certain size range, reviews. I mean, you name it, you can probably find it within Amazon or within Smart Scout. And it is just an incredibly powerful tool for extracting data. I know you like to think of Keepa as a very powerful tool for extracting data. And Smart Scout does not in any way replace Keepa. So I don't want that to be misunderstood. We still have to use Keepa. But Smart Scout, I think, is just as good at data mining Amazon and extracting usable information for us. And in this case, for finding brands to contact and to set up wholesale accounts with.
Yeah, I love it. Let's dive into the weeds just a little bit. I love that you brought up Keepa. Back in episode 369, I spent a whole episode talking about why I love Keepa. There's one thing that they do that no one else does, Smart Scout included, to my knowledge. They scrape hundreds of millions of listings on Amazon every day. They must have a massive bank of servers somewhere, and they're tracking the product rank. That's useless for this conversation of wholesalers, because you're looking just for smaller wholesalers, and Smart Scout is the one they're all using the same data, but these guys have really gone through and looked at specific businesses. So you can say, okay, what's this business doing? What's this brand doing? Keepa doesn't let you do brand research. The other tools aren't as good at that as what Smart Scout is, because Smart Scout was founded by a guy who's looking for wholesale opportunities. He came at it from that angle. So that's why it's important. Give me some ideas on how many companies you found. I mean, let's just build some legitimacy around this. I asked you for a number earlier. We never got back to that. Like, how many wholesale opportunities have you guys found using these strategies?
Well, we started using Smart Scout at the beginning of the year. I can't remember, probably February timeframe.
Right. And it hasn't been around all that long.
Yeah, no, I think it's right around a year old. I think it came out about October, November last year. Mm-hmm. So we started using it earlier this year. I kind of dove in. I saw a promo video, I think on YouTube or something, and it really piqued my interest. So I dove in with Richard, my wholesale sourcing manager, and immediately saw the wholesale value in it. So trained our virtual assistant on how to do it and essentially just put her right to work, sourcing, reaching out to brands. So I wish I would have put a number to it. I don't know how many accounts we've set up since starting it, but what I can tell you is I've had to limit my virtual assistant in how much she does this because she finds and sets up too many accounts too fast, like faster than we can actually evaluate price lists. So her task now, and we've had to hire a second one since, so now we got 2 VAs doing it, but she can only do this process and search and reach out to brands the first week of the month. The last 3 weeks of the month, she has to actually spend the time going through the price lists and evaluating price lists and websites and finding profitable products from the accounts that we set up. But I mean, our hit rate, our success rate is probably about 1 out of about every 15 brands that we reach out to for an account.
Which is incredible. For those of you who've tried to do wholesaling before and those who've been through other trainings, they'll tell you, well, you may have to reach out to 150, 200 companies and, you're going to get one that hits every once in a while. You got a 1 in 15 rate rocking right now. Yeah. And I want to clarify something else too. This may be one of the first episodes some people listen to. You aren't going out finding products that just aren't on Amazon yet. And you're not looking for products that have never sold before. You're looking for products that have some good momentum. And you're saying, hey, I can come alongside and make things go a little better for you here.
Yep. Yeah,
Talk me through that. When you say you're going through a list of products, let's say you call up a wholesaler like, yeah, hey, we've only got 1 Amazon seller or 2 right now. We'd be happy to make you the 3rd one. Hey, what are you looking for that gets you interested and excited? They send you their list of 50 products. Talk us through that. What happens next?
Well, I think just to back up a little bit, so we're actually, in our search parameters, we're actually looking for brands that already have 2 or more FBA sellers on them. And the reason we're looking for 2 or more is because we're trying to weed out right up front all the private label products. We're trying to weed out all the brands that already have exclusive agreements with a third-party seller. Our search criteria that we've developed over the last several years really helps you avoid that 1 in 100, 1 in 200 success rate, right? So right up front, we're going to be looking for the right brands to reach out to based on the search criteria that we're using, right? And then once we start digging into getting a price list, there's so many ways to use Smart Scout even within a price list to then qualify each individual brand. Because sometimes we're going to set up accounts with distributors or companies that represent multiple brands. And so then we can further use Smart Scout to qualify brands and to qualify how well the brand is doing and the products are selling on Amazon to know which ones to dive into further. So, I mean, we're looking for products where, our cut, we want to be making at least $20, $30 profit per product that we're buying from this company. And if it's just one product at $20, $25, it's probably not enough to justify setting up an account there. Right. So we're probably going to need 5, 10 products that are doing that as a whole. I mean, if you went to, say, a Walmart or Walgreens and only found one product there, you probably wouldn't waste your time.
You're not going to send a shopper there to pick up that one item once a week.
Exactly.
Quantity too. It's just a waste of time. Yeah. And when you say $25 profit, are you talking like per sale, per day, per week?
Per month. Per month.
There
right?
we go.
So I'm totally fine. Not per. So that'd be great, right? So we're looking for. We have probably a lower or a higher risk tolerance, but a lower criteria than most, just because of the cash flow we built up over the years. Like, I'm totally fine finding a product that makes $2 profit per sale.
Sure.
You know, as long as I can sell that a minimum of one time a day, then I'm good, because that volume, when I'm finding that product plus the other 5 or 10 products that brand has, then, you know, we're going to make some really good money with that. I'll even go as low as $1 profit per sale on like small light products. And just to clarify, that is $1 after all of my expenses.
Yeah, warehouse employees, taxes, everything. Yeah. You're still left with.
We build our expense right into RevSeller. So I've basically calculated what it costs me to run my warehouse per sale, and then we build that cost in. And so I need to be making that, you know, $2 profit per sale after all of my costs.
Beautiful. And you mentioned another one of our favorite tools, a tool that launched from our community. Basically, one of the students in our community put it together, and we've used it for years. RevSeller. If you go to provenamazoncourse.com/RevSeller, RevSeller, it's a great tool that puts right on the screen. If you're on Amazon.com, they don't have to be logged in. Right on the screen, it shows you if you buy this product at whatever price, you put your price point in. It tells you here's what you're going to make. If you sell at FBA, if you sell at FBM, you build in your own costs. And I'm curious, what have you guys got set? You may not know off the top of your head, but like you've put in there like a price per pound, I'm assuming, or, you know, you've set it up.
Yep. So we're using 15 cents per pound. We switched to almost exclusive LTL shipments now. Right. So we were averaging about 32 cents a pound before that. Now it's about 15 cents a pound. And then our costs are right around 65 cents per unit sold. So we're selling upwards of 18 to 20,000 units a month. And so, yeah, we've been able to really lower the cost of the prep, just based on the scale that we're doing it at.
Because you've been able to scale. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's just good to get a feel for the numbers of, you know, what's a $3.5 million a year business, you know, what's the scaling? Because those numbers are probably twice that if you're talking about a $10,000 a month business, you know, and you're not able to do the LTL, the less than truckload, you know, shipping pallets. Not everyone's shipping pallets yet. We've got training in the Proven Amazon course on that topic, but not everyone's there yet. You're shipping in.
And if you're using a prep center, you know, you want to build in the prep center cost. That's
$1.50 a unit or whatever it is. Yeah, but you can put all that into RevSeller, so you're able to make great decisions, rapid fire style, when you're looking at an item. Or you can use Smart Scout to look at a whole bunch of them at the same time, right? And make good decisions. Where's the winners? In this list of 150 products, where's the winners? And you can identify them very quickly, right? So that's what you're doing. If you had to take a stab at how many products you found, I mean, just give me a general ballpark. We talk dozens, a few hundred. What are we looking at?
It's definitely in the range of a few hundred, because we've found some brands. You know, when we first started, one of our big home runs right off the bat was actually a major brand where I say this, I don't want to intimidate people with wholesale, right? Because the whole idea of like teaching wholesale is it's not intimidating. You can find brands with low minimum order quantities. This one just happened to be one of the first ones we found with Smart Scout, and it had a minimum order quantity of 5 pallets, right? So I say that, I don't want to intimidate it. That's not the norm, right? And so with this brand in particular, we added over 100 SKUs right off the bat. And we have found other ones. What I love in our approach is, our first approach is brand direct. We'll use the criteria with Smart Scout to data mine and find products or brands that fit the criteria. We'll approach that brand directly. But inherently in our approach is we're finding niche products and niche brands. And so in this case, this brand does not sell direct to anybody. And so they referred us to their distributor. This is an account that we locked in while we were at the Proven Conference. So we were directed to their distributor, which happens to be a niche distributor. And the distributor basically told us, hey, we don't typically sell to Amazon sellers, but, you know, I love your approach. Checked out your website. You look legit. I do see how you can add value to us. So we'll set you up an account. We set up an account with these guys. And this is, a really cool one where we were able to negotiate a discount because our virtual assistant was sourcing these products, and she came back. She's like, I'm finding a lot of products. They're like 5 to 10% profit margin, which is below, where we want to be. And so we instructed her, go ahead, make note of all of those. Everything that is 0% break even and above, give us those back on an Excel sheet, and we'll take it from there. So she did her research, found, I think it was like 30 plus products that fit this criteria. And then we took that back to the distributor, and our approach was, hey, these are the products we want to purchase. This is the quantity we feel that we can buy from you on a monthly basis. But in order to do so, we need X price, right? And I think the discount that we requested was like 20% off. Now, we didn't get the 20%, but we got almost 10 on every product, right? So those products that were then 5% are now 15%, and those are good enough for us. Right. So we added a ton of products there. And what's great is the products that were already 25%, now they're 35%, and they're really good profit margin. So that's another one that we found. I think we added, it was like 31, 32 products from that distributor as well. So we're probably in the range of 200, 250 SKUs that we've added to the business since adding Smart Scout. And
just in the last few months. I mean,
just in the last few months, yeah.
And we haven't been using it a full year yet. Far from it.
Yeah, and we're very strategically looking for higher selling price products, right? So that one that I just mentioned, where we added 30 SKUs, our average selling price on those products is over $300.
Yeah, that's tremendous.
Yeah,
and you're not afraid of those higher price point products.
I'm not.
Are they heavier?
Some of them are. In fact, some of them we actually had to remove from our purchase order just based on the length and the shipping cost and stuff like that. So there was further evaluation to do after we placed a PO and had to remove some. But some of them are heavier. Some of them are still small. I mean, we got products that are this big that are selling for $3,000. They may only be selling 4 or 5 times a month, but I'm fine with that too, because
you like seeing those pop through for sure. Right?
Actually, those are huge, great pops. Yep. So we're just able to find, we had a hard time finding those products before, and that's one thing I love about Smart Scout is it's really helping us dial into finding the types of products we want, because you can build out that search criteria exactly like you want, and I'll give you the basic search criteria. But what I tell all of my students is you want to customize this to you, make it unique so that you're not searching for the same stuff that everybody else is.
Sure.
Right? Finding those unique products that still meet that criteria of a niche brand, a niche product. They don't have too many Amazon sellers, but they still have enough to where that brand does tend to allow Amazon sellers.
Exactly. And there's millions of these products out there. I mean, some people might be thinking, oh, well, you're finding 150, 200 results and everyone's seeing the same. No, we're talking, and every day, thousands, if not tens of thousands of new products pouring into the market. I mean, there's no way we could train enough people to keep up with the opportunity.
Yeah, no way. Like we could have 10,000 people take this course and there's still be enough products to go around for all.
Yeah, with products coming and going constantly and new products coming on the market. And I love that we're not talking about, some people, I feel the need to emphasize this. Some people think that winning on Amazon means taking a product that no one's heard of before, somehow finding a magic market and the magic keywords and the magic listing and hopefully making it big. Like, that's interesting stuff. We actually teach that. That's private label strategies. That's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about when your assistant's going through that list of products and she's looking for winners, she's looking for ones that are already selling well. Yep. And you guys want to get in on the game, get in on the action. Instead of 3 sellers, hey, now there's 4.
Yep.
And now I'm sharing a piece of that $1,000 a month profit. There's instead of 3 people sharing it, now there's 4 of us sharing it. And that's fine. We're all playing about the same price range. The buy box is rotating. We're all playing nice. If someone tanks and sells their product out, we just kind of wait. And now it's just 3 of us again selling this product, right? I mean, that's the replans game, but you're just playing it at a higher level where you've got a relationship with your source. Instead of buying 5 or 10 at a time off the store shelves around you, you're buying maybe a case of 20 or 50. You're placing slightly larger orders, which improves your profit margins. It's really the replens game done at a slightly more serious level as far as the sourcing goes, and the relationship aspect too. Does that sound fair? Is that a good assessment?
Yep, absolutely. Yep. And we use so much of the replen methodology in reviewing price lists and websites. And I think that's what makes it sets those who've been doing replens and understand replens, it puts them in an excellent position to have success with wholesale because you have that perfect methodology of sourcing already behind you. So when you look at a price list, yes, if it's a big price list, you do want to send it through a scanner and see what hits the UPCs. I think that's a great first approach, but you still do want to take the replen methodology and manually source it and still find those 2-packs and 3-packs. You do the same stuff with wholesale.
Yeah, manually search through and look. Right. That really, if for those who don't know what the replens training is, the proven Amazon course dials it in, takes you a few hours. Some people it takes them a few hours. Some people it takes them a few weeks, but you go through it. Basically, you can grab any product from anywhere. It's got a barcode on it. About 30 seconds from now, you can know with extreme confidence, is that something I'd be interested in selling or not? All I got to know is, what's the name on the bottle? Show me the barcode. You may or may not find the barcode. You can search by the keywords too. And then you're diving in just a little bit into data using Keepa, RevSeller, you totally talked about, and now Smart Scout to see if it's a wholesale opportunity too at the same time. And you can know very quickly, is this a product I'm interested in? Yes or no. And the ability to make those fast decisions and to analyze a lot of different products quickly, that's the magic. So let's talk a little bit about the website that you said you have, because some people are like, God, I got to build a website. What are you talking about? Are we going to help people with that? We've got it pretty dialed in. What's our offer going to be there?
Yeah, I don't know the price point on the website, but I do know that we do have a web developer in place that'll help people just throw it together real quick. You can make a few customizations, but really the base, if you use us, it's just going to be, the basis of the value add that we add as a wholesale supplier, and maybe some of the consulting services we offer.
Yeah, just make you look legit.
Absolutely. Yeah. But you can get on Fiverr, you can hire someone. I mean, that's
sure.
what I do.
Build your own WordPress site if you want to. That's perfectly fine. But we're saying, hey, we'll host this for you. We'll build it for you if you want. Pay us a few dollars and we'll take care of those details. We got the team in place to take care of it, just to make you look legit. Because you need that.
You do.
If you're going to approach wholesalers and say, hey, well, where's your website? You say, well, I don't really have one,
And don't worry if you don't have products, because you don't need to put the products on there.
No, don't need to put products.
It's just your value. Yep.
Just contact info and a picture of a pretty building.
It goes a long way. You'd be really surprised at how well that speaks to brands. We've had numerous responses, either through email or on the phone, that have told us that the main deciding factor in why they decided to work with us, because they don't like to work with Amazon sellers, was our first, the response, looking at our website and seeing how professional it is and the value that we can bring to them. So
Very
it does go a long way. That first impression is kind of, I like to think of it as my online resume. It's that resume I'm handing them. They look at it and right away they know, okay, I want to talk to this guy or I don't. Right. Mm-hmm. So right away they look at our website, our resume, and say, yes, we want to talk to this guy. This guy could really help us.
Very good. Well, let's talk through who this is for. I think we've kind of hit on it, but let's be real specific. Who it's for, who it's not for. Maybe I'm talking specifically provenwholesalesourcing.com, new course, brand new content, never been taught anywhere else in the world before. We're basing it off of the Smart Scout tool. So, you're going to need, and while you're thinking about your answer, Rich, I'm just going to bullet point through here some things that people are going to need. You need to buy the course, provenwholesalesourcing.com. If you're a coaching student or if you're a proven Amazon course student, by the way, look for a great discount on that. But you're also going to need Smart Scout. Best price in the world, silentjim.com/SS, as in Smart Scout, silentjim.com/SS. So you're going to need that. You're also going to need a website to do it right. We're going to help you with that. We're going to make it no-brainer, or you can build your own based on the stuff we're going to show you in the course. That's about it, right? Now, what knowledge do I need to be able to jump in? Because I don't want people coming in completely green, never sold anything online before, thinking, oh, this is the thing to do. you kind of got to we've mentioned the replans training, that basic proven Amazon course. The heart of it for new sellers is that replans training. You're going to need to understand the basics of that, or we're going to be talking maybe a little over your head potentially.
Yeah,
but talk us through that.
So I'm always going to push wholesale, right? Like that's where I started. And I think almost anybody can start there, right? I do agree though that, you probably should have a base understanding of replans, of selling on Amazon. If you just signed up for your Amazon account, yesterday, a lot of what we're going to talk about probably is going to go over your head.
You need an operating account and you've sold a few things.
Absolutely.
Maybe that's a good baseline.
Yeah, absolutely. But you can have success in wholesale without having done replans. I think you'll have more success in wholesale if you've done replans and had success there. But you could do what I did and you could just start in wholesale. Right.
That's true. That's what you guys did. 3.5 million in just a few short years, man. So you guys
probably have the advantage of having worked for a distributor for 10 plus years before I did that. Right. So, but I honestly think that this is an offer that fits almost everybody in the community. Right. The community has been so replan minded and replan focused that if you've listened to a dozen podcasts, if you've gone through even the first 25% of Jimmy's replan course and you start to put that stuff in place, you're probably ready for this. And I think it's going to be offered at such a low price that I think you'd be crazy not to, honestly.
Yeah.
But I think wholesale, honestly, is for everybody. Even if the goal is to get into private label and do the more advanced stuff. I love our approach to private label with wholesale because we're using our wholesale products. There's zero risk in our private label approach because if I can't get that product to sell on my private label listing, I'm just going to pull it back and then I'm going to sell it on the wholesale listing that I'm already selling against already. Right. So zero risk with that approach.
Zero risk of an angry spouse saying, get that stuff out of my garage. What are those 4,000 units doing sitting there? Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Zero risk.
So you will need, you're going to need at least $1,000 to $1,500 initial investment for Smart Scout, for the website, for just the background stuff. Right.
Yeah, so for the course and for some inventory too. That $1,500 is going to go a long way.
Yeah.
That's a good, fair number. Like, someone's like, I'm down to my last $500. Is this for me? Like, no, you know what you need to do is hang out in our free Facebook group, listen to this podcast, get out there and hustle, hit some yard sales, do some retail arbitrage, scan some barcodes and some clearance aisles. That stuff works. If you're going to hustle, you can put $100,000 in the bank doing that. But we're talking about that next level up of, I'm ready to go a little deeper on some products that, maybe buy more than one or two at a time kind of scenario. I want to get out there and buy 10, 20, 50 at a time, maybe even, and low risk.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, don't let wholesale intimidate you. We find brands, distributors all the time that they have a minimum order quantity of $100, $250, $500. So don't think that you need, $5,000 plus in the bank to get started in wholesale. You don't. You can get started in wholesale if you've got $500. Because you can go find 2 or 3 suppliers that'll allow you to place small enough orders to be able to start with them for sure.
Very good. Well, I love the ongoing, continuing story that you and Shelley have built. Beautiful family. It's all the last several years. It's been built around Amazon, and you guys have stepped up as great leaders. You mentioned the presentation you did at the conference. You guys were phenomenal at the conference just a few months ago as we're recording this. theprovenconference.com is where you can find the videos there. And yours is one of, I think we had about 30 videos, multiple sessions going, tremendous session. But what else do you want to leave folks with? What else do you want to share here? As we kind of start to wrap this up, again, we've been talking a lot about transitioning into wholesale, the opportunities that are there, provenwholesalesourcing.com. There'll be links to everything we talked about in the show notes, by the way. But is there anything else you want to leave people with that help kind of decide, is this for me? Or maybe we can paint a little clear picture. Who is it not for? If we left anything out, I think we did a pretty good job there.
No, I think we did good. I would just probably one last thing is I do want to let everybody know that we're still doing the workshop here in Mesa. So this wholesale course is not to replace the in-person workshop. It's just just cutting out the wholesale aspect of it and making that available to a lot of people. But you're still missing the advanced replan training we're doing, the time in my warehouse, the team building, there's so much value that we deliver here at the workshop that, if you really want to hit the ground running and you have the investment, to make the investment in that, I would still highly recommend our workshop.
Absolutely.
People are having incredible success with
so many testimonials. I mean, that's a lot of the testimonials people are going to see on the provenwholesalesourcing.com page is the people who've been out there live and experienced this. And they're coming away saying amazing, glowing things about the experience. So yeah, we'll have both those offers. If someone wants to hit the ground running and come out and actually hang out with you guys for a few days, that's awesome. But for people who say, I can't spend a few thousand, I'll spend a couple hundred and maybe get this thing rocking. Well, that's what we created this.
Proven wholesale source. Even come check out this wholesale course for a few $100s. Come check it out. Just see that it's legit, see that it works, and then later come out and visit me.
I think that's what's going to happen is we're going to fill your guys' calendar from all the people who get in here. And that brings me to a point we probably should have brought up earlier, and this will all be on the sales page, of course, for the course, the Proven Wholesale Sourcing sales page. But how are people getting this content? Is it interactive? We're still mapping this out as we're recording this episode, so it may not be completely set in stone. But what's the plan here? What are they just watching videos, or what all are we going to offer?
Yeah, so we're gonna do. We haven't nailed down the exact number yet. Probably 6 to 8 live Zoom calls. So we'll have everybody join the Zoom calls. The first probably 45 to 60 minutes will be me presenting and teaching and going over the concepts. But we'll open up the last 15 to 30 minutes, however, long it takes, but we'll open up the last portion of every call to questions, and we'll be able to dive into everybody's Q&A. So it'll be both presentation, but also very interactive at the end so that we can make sure everybody's understanding the concepts.
Beautiful. And a couple of things I want to point out here too. One is we have coaching on all of this, which is kind of a price point in between just buying the course and flying out to Arizona. So we've got some coaches ready to rock on this very fast after this course rolls out. And the other thing is those sessions you just described, they're all going to be recorded. So if someone's listening to this like in 2022 spring or something, like, oh man, I missed it. No, you didn't. ProvenWholesaleSourcing.com. It's got the recordings. The live experience, I think those people who jump into it first is going to be phenomenal because you can interact. You're going to know the people going through at the same time you are and be interacting with you and your team in a live fashion as we go through this. And we'll have some Facebook support, I'm sure, as well, that kind of thing all plugged in. It's all on the ProvenWholesaleSourcing.com page. But this is just you and I pre-launch talking through what it is we're going to offer, with the goal being helping people just go out and find dozens of new wholesale opportunities in rapid fashion.
Yeah.
Well, beautiful. I think we really hit the nail on the head with this. I think people are probably at a point right now where they're saying, yeah, this is for me. Or like, oh, I think I need to go study Proven Amazon course replans a little bit first. Like you're in one of those two pockets if you went all the way through this episode, I think. But well, anything left on your list, man? Anything else you want to go over before we start to wrap this one up?
No, I think we hit it all pretty well. I would just encourage people to give wholesale a chance. It really is, in my opinion, the best way to scale your business. It also helps you develop systems and have a sellable asset too, right?
Great
increases
point.
The value of your business. If someone wanted to buy my business, it's a sellable asset because of how it's set up and the systems we have in place and how it runs itself. They wouldn't be buying a job; they'd be buying a company that actually runs with employees that run it.
You're exactly right. That reminds me of the episode we did not too long ago where I was talking with a guy who comes from the world of business finance who had left it. He was actually at our event. I don't know if you talked to the Accrue guys while you were there or not. Had a great episode with them here about 5 episodes or so ago. And he was saying, the Amazon selling model got him so excited. He kind of came out of retirement to start talking to Amazon sellers. And when he talks to people who are brand new saying, hey, I want to start an Amazon business, he doesn't send them into private label, even though that's where everyone goes, because they think, oh, that's a turnkey business. I can sell it someday. I can sell my brand someday. Well, there's actually a middle ground here where you don't need the risk of private label. You don't need all the trademark. And we do all that. And we do it all day, every day with excellence for people. Humminbird, I'll stick a link in the show notes. We can help you build your brand, get your trademark, do all that. But you don't have to go up that far with it to have a sellable asset. If you've got a list of wholesalers and it's just order more when you need it, that's a turnkey sellable asset business. Now, if you're hitting yard sales every weekend, and sometimes you come home with $2,500 worth of product, and sometimes you come home with nothing, that's not a sellable asset business. No one's going to take that over from you. You can't hand them the instruction book and say, here, I don't want to go to yard sales every Saturday. I don't want to buy a job, right? But I love what you just said, Rich. This makes your business a sellable asset. And I believe replans do as well, as it becomes to be more understood and we're shaping this concept out. It's still kind of in its infancy. Although we've got thousands of people making tons of money, it's a system that operates. You can put the right people in place and the wheels turn and it makes money. But the wholesale really, puts a nice foundation under it to where you can make it make sense to a business investor. Here's the products we order. Here's what they sell for. I can go on vacation for 2 weeks and turn it over to my team. Do you want to buy this thing from me? You've got a sellable asset now. So very well said. We probably should emphasize that earlier on, but yeah, great note to end on too. I think we're going to give people a lot to think about. All right, unless you got anything else, buddy, I'm going to wrap this one up.
No, that's it. I mean, there's lots of brands out there that are willing to work with you. You just got to know how to find them. So let me help.
That's what we're going to show you to do. Yep. Super exciting. All right, man. Next phase of growth, wholesale, for all you replan sellers out there listening, all of you who are kind of hitting the store shelves, man, let's get you doing some research with a cool tool that we found that we're super excited to start working with, Smart Scout. silentjim.com/SS. It's where you go to get your great discount on Smart Scout. But provenwholesalesourcing.com, that's the course that Rich is going to be leading through with our team in support. We can't wait to roll this out to you guys. So many great success stories are coming very soon from this. So that's going to be great. Hope you can join us. But this has been another episode of Silent Sales Machine Radio. If you could do me a little favor, spread the word. Send people to silentjim.com. Tell them, hey, these guys have so many success stories. Because we do. I don't see anyone else in the industry cranking out the number of success stories that we do. Just literally daily in our free Facebook group, people posting the results, sharing their excitement. Great leaders like Rich and Shelley, who you met, Rich, today, emerging, creating new content. It's a great time to be a part of what we've got going on around here. So spread the word if you don't mind. That's our only marketing that we do, is asking you to, hey, share our website with some others who might be able to benefit. So until we talk again, God bless all the business building warriors. We're in your corner. We're here for you. We're rooting for you. We want to support you and help you grow. We don't see you as a competitor. We see you as a fellow warrior in the fight. We're here with you, and we'll talk to you again real soon.